Madam, can you give it to this? No, it's okay. So regulators' expectations that to availability of the quality medical products. So we are only concerned about the quality of the medical products and also the affordability. That means it should be affordable to the users. Now, if your innovating product is a few lakhs of rupees, then the common man, they cannot afford it. So in that case, affordability is also one of our expectations. And marketing authorization means the permission from the regulator. It's a mandatory requirement under the statutory provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Rules, Act and Rules for marketing the innovative medical products, and accordingly, regulatory issues which is bound by the regulation that have a definite impact on the whole product life cycle, including the innovations. Now, when we are talking about a product life cycle, let us see what is the product life cycle. Next slide, please. Next slide. Madam Priyanka. So if you consider these things, that there are a number of stages of a product that we call it the product life cycle. First is the innovation, that's R&D process. Second is the standardization. Third is the preclinical studies. And these three stages, presently, it is totally under the domain of the startups. This is the innovation stage. And after that, the moment all these things, innovation, standardization, the process and procedures, preclinical studies is over, then you have to go for the further stage, that is the clinical study. The moment you come to the clinical study, you have to come to the regulator for their approval. So clinical study, the next stage is after clinical study, if it is approved by the regulator, then is the marketing authorization. You will get the approval from the regulators for marketing your product. Then you have to go for the manufacturing operation and control. Then marketing. After marketing, also pharmacovigilance. That means how your product is going on in the market. Is there any adverse drug reaction or any adverse effects on the products? So pharmacovigilance, that has to be carried out. And finally, when the product is continuous in the market, then review to develop further. So these are the innovations. So this is a cyclic process. Now, if you consider this whole process, first three stages, this comes under the startup. And the next of the things, it comes under total strong vigil of the regulators. So this is the product life cycle. Next. Next slide, madam. So what are the challenges? We are talking, Dr. Priyanka also said that there are some challenges. So what are the challenges? The challenges means to bridge the gap between the perception of the innovators as well as the perception of the regulators. So this is a challenge. I just admitted, sort it out, to adapt the QMS, quality management system, and QRM, quality risk management. These are the two key words we are using for quality of the products as per the ICH guideline. So to adapt QMS and QRM approach in the internal framework of innovation activities of the medical products from the very beginning. That means from the very beginning, when a startup is starting with this innovative work, at that time, the QMS and QRM approach should be inclined with this internal framework of the innovation activities. Second is to reduce the risk to a favorable risk-benefit ratio. For every product, every process, there is a called a risk. And risk cannot be zero. We have to minimize it. So we have to reduce the risk to a favorable risk-benefit ratio. Third is to update this is also from the regulator's part, and as an ex-regulator, I can tell these things to you, that some of the regulators, they are not updated knowledge about the latest technology. So to update the regulations and appropriate training to the regulators is also very important work, and it's an important challenge also to train them, to make them understand clearly the new and emerging technologies like nanotechnology, 3D bioprinting, tissue target delivery system, etc., etc. The reason behind it, we the regulator, suppose I was also a regulator before a couple of years back. So my knowledge, my education, my academic background, that too also another 30 years back. So I may not be totally updated about the latest technology. So this type of training, constant training, is also required to update the regulators regarding the appropriate, regarding the latest technology, so that the communication will be easier from a startup to the regulators. To convince researchers, this is also researchers' part or innovators' part, to convince the researchers to adapt responsibility of assuring safety and efficacy of the product at the earliest stage of the innovation process. That means they have to keep it in mind from the very beginning, the safety and efficacy, both the things. So for example, you are innovating some biosimilar products. It is very effective, but it's a contaminated product. During the production, there may be some contamination. So safety is a concern. So we cannot allow these observations. So the responsibility of assuring safety and efficacy should be started from the very beginning, starting from the innovation process. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, madam. So to make the building in quality, what I feel that the current approach, what we are presently maintaining, that is quality by testing and followed by GMP or good manufacturing practice. Now, what is quality by testing? Presently, what we are doing, that means suppose we are manufacturing a batch size of 100 lakh tablets or 100 lakhs IBDs. In that case, we take a few samples, 200, 300 samples, and carry out the testing. And on the basis of that testing, we ensure quality of the whole batch. And you can understand very well that the product, that the particular products or elements which are being tested, they are not actually consumed by the consumer, because the present testing approach is a destructive testing. Present testing, what we are carrying out on the chemical products, on the medical products, they're all destructive testing. So that after testing, that product cannot be tested. So 100% testing is not possible by the present method. And why we are following the GMP? We are trying to reduce the risk associated during the production. But to this current approach, if you consider the current approach, the startup or innovation stage is not controlled. So it is totally neglected from the regulator side. But the approach of the 21st century, what we are talking about nowadays, it is quality by design. I can tell you one example in regarding 2003-04, when I attended a meeting at USA. At that time, USA regulators, they asked me one question. When you are talking about the quality, you are talking about on the basis of testing. But testing cannot guarantee you the 100% of all the items. So the approach is the quality by design. If we go to the definition of the QBD or quality by design, it is a systematic approach to pharmaceutical development that begins with the predefined objectives and emphasizes product and process understanding based on sound science and quality risk management. This is the definition of the QBD. In fact, QBD, if I summarize this, that first you have to fix that target. That means we call it a TPQP or target product quality profile. First, you target the product quality profile. What should be the quality of your product? And on the basis of this target, you make a design. You design of what? Design of the quality, this critical quality attributes, CQA, CPP, critical process parameters within a specified design space. That's you have to make a design accordingly. And finally, you have to implement it by utilizing the PAT of process analytical technology, which is a constant monitoring of the product during the whole process. So this is the QBD. And what my request to all of you, all the participants, as an innovators, you have to put in place this QBD philosophy on your product from the very beginning. And if you go through the QBD, in fact, in India, presently, the drugs and medical products, they are not under the control of quality by design because we have not adapted these things. But if you consider the developed countries like USA, European Union, UK, MHA, they have already adapted this concept of quality by design. So if you want to go for the export of your products, you have to fulfill this concept of quality by design. Next slide, please. Now, most of the participants, what I met during the last two occasions, they are mainly either from the bioequivalence, they are innovating the product which are biosimilars, or medical device or IBD, in vitro diagnostics. So what I find that the knowledge of them about the medical device, because medical device rule, it is a very new. It has been framed in 2017 and effective from 2018. So my request to all of you to please go through the medical device rule in details. But it is very difficult to understand the medical device rules line by line. So next slide, please. Next slide. So I just want to give you a glimpse that what is the medical device rule 2017. It was notified in 31/1/2017 by GSR 78E, and it is effective from 1/1/2018. Then once this rule was published, then it is further amended by GSR 777 dated 14/10/2022 and which is effective from 14/10/2022. So this is the latest one. And what it contains, it is actually huge documents. It contains almost 300 pages of A4 pages. But for your information, I just summarize it that how many chapters it is having a different chapters. That is 1 to 12. 12 chapters it is having. It contains the 97 rules, which gives you the exactly what you have to do it. It has a 8 schedule. First to 8, this 8 schedules are there. It is having annexures, that is the notified medical devices. It coming time by time to time. That is CDSCO or Ministry of Health, they notify it, that medical devices. And also appendix, that is that form, application form or whatever the form, that is from MD1 to MD43. So in a nutshell, these are the medical device rules. Now for your informations, when you go through the medical device rule, you may not require all the rules to go through it. So you may suppose if you want to go for the clinical study, then you require a particular rule which comes into a particular chapter. So what I did at the end of my presentations, I made a index list how to go through it. For example, what chapter 1 says, what chapter 2 says, what chapter 12 says, like this, what rule 1 to 97 they say about it, what are those rules. Then also I've given the schedules. What are the schedules? Then annexure also that present till today, the notified medical devices, that also have added, and that form, which form you have to apply to the licensing authority or central licensing authority, whatever it may be, to get your marketing approval. So these are all forms. So my request to all the participants who wants to start their business through the innovation, they can go through these medical device rules, especially those who are in the field of medical device or in vitro diagnostics. So with this, I will stop here. And now I will request to all startups to raise their queries, what they want to know about the rules and regulations and how to get the marketing approval from the regulators. Because during the last 2 occasions, I find there have a number of questions, number of queries. So when the IGRF was framed, was made in the last month at Bangalore, then the chairman of this IGRF committee, Dr. Surinder Singh, he called me and he told Kirasa, we can make a digital platform to initially give the queries of this, answer to the queries of these participants or innovators, so that they can understand what they should do. So likely we want to make a digital platform for that one. But before that, and also the frequently asked questions, that also we want to make it on that digital platform. But for that, we want That's why I requested Madam Mukherjee also to collect and collate all the queries they are receiving from the startups or innovators so that we can give the satisfactory answer. With this, I will stop here. Now, if you have any questions or queries, you can do it. Thank you. Thank you very much for patient hearing.
So we have received few queries, but I see many startups who had actually shared their queries earlier have joined. So I would request Dr. Srinath, if you're present, maybe you can ask your question.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for this concise presentation, what you have done till now. And my question is like two questions I got. First, let's say there is a device which has been already approved, which is an invasive one. Let's say right now it allows measurement of glucose. Now I want to add up few other parameters for measurement. What regulatory requirements will be there? Let's say I want to now measure dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide. I'm just taking an parallel example to get an answer from you.
That means you want to know the requirements for an or medical device which will measure the oxygen?
Yes. So already the invasive device has been approved, which was meant for, let's say, measuring of glucose. Now I have to just change some internal component in it. It might be a chip, it might be a program. For that, what kind of regulatory requirements will be there?
That means again you have to apply to the, because it is, you have to apply to the licensing authority, because I think it is under, comes under IBD, in vitro diagnostics, and it is also comes under C, category C, I think. So you have to apply to the CDSCO, Central Licensing Authority, and the moment you apply, that's why I asked you to go through the medical device rules. There is a specific format. When you will apply for this, what are the documents, what are the data is required to be submitted, that is there. You fill up these things, put up your application, and you will get the answers.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. And a continuing question is there. Before, let's say, I go for usage in humans, if I want to do just for R&D purpose, let's say in any lab or any animals, let's say, what kind of regulatory requirements will be there for it?
See, there is also a possibility for the test. We call it a test license.
Okay.
That is not for actual use. That's for test purposes. Okay. And you can apply for that test license.
So can you refer the form number or anything?
That's why I say you go through the rules.
Okay.
In the rules, everything is clearly written.
Fantastic.
And for making you easy to the rules, I made this. If my presentation is shared with you, I do not know. If Dr. Mukherjee, Priyankana has shared my presentation with all of you.
Yes, I have it.
That I have not discussed. At the end, I made a list.
Okay.
Which rule you will get these things. So as per your query, you go through the rule, go in details, and apply for it.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So next, I would request Bijoy from Away Bioscience, Bijoy Krishna or Surya.
Good afternoon. This is Bijoy Krishna. Good afternoon to Doctor. It was pretty good short presentation you had given insights what it's all about. But Dr. Roy, we are a deep tech company which is into 3D bioprinting.
Bioprinting, okay, 3D bioprinting, okay.
Right. Actually, we are basically into a convergent solution provider where we provide 3D bioprinting, tissue modeling, and digital biofabrication and bioprinting management using our patent software. All right. So this is what we do. So my first question, I got 3 or 4 questions related because it's all into 3D bioprinting. And my first question is, what would be the certification required from the Government of India approval for 3D bioprinting and bioinks? Are there any regulations or regulatory measures which we need to follow?
Number one, if you follow my presentations, I also mentioned these things.
Right,
Yes,
right. I saw that.
present regulators, their knowledge is very minimum about the 3D bioprinting. Okay,
Right.
this and that is the reason. Number one, it is so far my knowledge also. I am also an ex-regulator, so my knowledge is also limited with this particular technology. But what I could understand that you have to convince the regulators that this comes under the medical device. This is not comes under medical device. This comes under the in vitro diagnostics.
Okay.
This 3D bioprinting, and for that, for what my suggestion is there, you apply to CDSU, or
Okay.
better, if I do not know where you are located. If you are located in South Zone, every CDSU they have a zonal office or state office. For example, in Bangalore, if you are from Bangalore, in Bangalore there is a zonal office. Am I audible?
Absolutely. I'm
So
sorry,
they're based in Bangalore, and they are with IKP.
Acha.
Bangalore.
Yeah, you are from IKP. Acha. So
Right.
you go to the Bangalore office. Bangalore, we have a CDSU zonal office.
Okay.
There you meet the deputy accountant, tell your problem. He may
Right.
understand your problem, may not understand. I'm not sure about it. But you tell them. If required, you can cite my exam, my name also. Dr.
Okay.
Roy suggested me to talk to you, and you just guide me which application form I have to fill it up.
All right.
If he's not in a position, he will refer the matter to headquarters, and you will get your answer. In which form you have to apply, you will get answer. This is one procedure. Another is possibility, the stateway with the online portal, you apply for a license.
Okay.
Definitely,
Right.
they will raise so many questions to you. They will raise so many questions and you give the reply. You got my point?
Yeah, understood. Understood. Because doctor, we are coming with a couple of things other than the 3D bioprinting. We are coming with something called organ on a chip, right? This is something which we are, it's a natural miniature tissue grown inside a microfluidic chip, right? That's what we do. It. This is basically used for, used for the drug development. So for that,
I know it. That is why I am telling you that first you have to, it is your responsibility to make the regulators educated about your product, 3D bioprinting technology.
Understood.
Okay. So
Understood.
for that reason, my suggestion, you first go to the zonal office because he is very accessible to you.
Okay.
Discuss with him.
All right.
If he is agreed, then he will say, you apply in this form. Then you
All right.
apply. Fine.
All right. All right. Thank
If
you.
if he cannot understand your problem, definitely he will refer your matter to the headquarters.
All right.
And then headquarters will give you the exact suggestions what to do. If it is not works, in that case, straightway put an application on online for your product.
All right.
Then they have to give you the answer. They have to give you the answer. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, doctor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Priyanka.
Thanks, Bijoy. Surid also wanted to ask a question from your team.
Surid is not there today.
Hi.
He's here. He's gone. Sorry.
Okay, thanks, Biju. So, sir, I had one question for you. I just wanted to understand from your perspective. You had mentioned by design for
Quality by design.
Quality by design,
yes.
Right, is something that is new. So currently, are there companies or are there platforms who are guiding startups in this? Because I'm sure a lot of startups would not know what this quality by design protocols are. So
first thing, let me clear you these things, that QBD is a very new concept. This quality by design is a very new concept. And in our country, our regulators, present regulators, they have not adapted it. But it is already adapted by US FDA. It is already adapted by European Union. It is already adapted by Health Canada. It is already adapted by MHRA UK. So in that case, if you want to export your product to those countries, you have to fulfill their QBD system. What is QBD, quality by design? Just one simple example, I can get it clear to you, that when Suppose I'm a pharmacist, but did I become a pharmacist from design? No. I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't get chance in the medical. So then I joined in a pharmacy and I became a pharmacist. And this happens in product also. But that's why quality by design means when from the very beginning, when a startup starts, he wants to maintain or build his quality in the product. So that concept, I'm not going in details of QBD because it's a lecture of few hours on QBD. So, but QBD, if you are interested personally, you can go through. There are so many literature, so many presentations also. Even I have also number of time I have presented this QBD, quality by design concept. So that you can go through it. But basic thing I can tell you about the QBD, that it starts the regulation from the very beginning. At present, our present tool, if you consider, suppose you are a startup, you are doing some product innovation in your laboratory. Regulators do not know anything. Regulators do not have any interfere on that. After that product development, when you go for the product standardization and other things, then also regulator doesn't come. It is not under their vigil. You go for the preclinical study, regulator is not involved. The moment you come for the clinical study, then regulator's involvement comes. But if you consider the QBD concept, then from the very beginning, it is with the constant approach, constant guidance with the regulators. So that's the basic difference, QBD and the other present approach. Present approach is the QBT, quality by testing, not by design. So that's the basic difference. And for your information, presently in India, it is not a statutory requirement, but it is my expectations or my anticipation that within a very short period, 5 to 10 years, definitely it will come. QBD has to come in a regulation for the medical product. So be prepared for it and try to prepare. And for your informations, in India, I do not know the medical device company, but I know number of pharmaceutical company. Those who are having a regular exports in the developed countries like USA, UK, European Union, they are following QBD. They are following, although it is not mandatory upon requirement, but for the export market, they follow it. They prepare the documents accordingly. They are even the R&D process and everything based on QBD. So when the regulators ask for this, they submit these things to them. So that's number of units. Now those who are in export business, they are following it. Am I clear?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks also for the timeline. 5 to 10 years, it gave a very good idea of like when to expect these changes.
It's purely my expectations.
No, that's okay. I mean, just a ballpark is always useful. The other question I also wanted to ask about is, for example, the process you laid out, which was very clear. Thank you for that. Was go through the medical devices rule. You'll be able to identify under which of the rules your medical device would actually fit in, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that is all done on our end. That's okay. One question I had was, as a follow-up to that, since the preclinical part is still part of the startup's role, right? How do we, I mean, define the steps for the preclinical? Since we are defining it ourselves, I mean, based on the rules, do we define it, or should we go to a third party like, some research institute do that? How do you see that?
See, if it is your domain, if the preclinical study or toxicology study, actually it is a toxicology study. If it is in your domain, then you can do yourselves. Otherwise, you can take the help of any contract research people or contract research organization. There are a number of CROs, they are doing it. Because now the problem is with that for animal model, for the toxicity study, it is also tremendously regulated by government agencies. That is, previously it was termed as a CPC SEA. Now recently they have changed their name. We call it as a Maneka Gandhi's regulation. Suppose. So this is a very stringent regulations, and it's very difficult to get the approval from them. So my suggestion in that says, better you can take the help of the contextual research organization, CROs.
Okay, Great. Thank you for that information. Last question. May I ask Priyankana ma'am,
Sure,
or
sure.
am I out of time?
Sure, we have time.
Okay. Since CDSU is also a constantly evolving, constantly moving organization, toxicology testing is definitely a very difficult aspect or difficult space. Any moves or any future directions you see CDSU moving in or taking in, I mean, from your experience on the toxicology side to make things a little more easier or faster to streamlined?
See, as I said, presently CDSO is totally busy from the clinical study. Only after completion of preclinical study, when you submit the document, then we go through it. Then we go through it. But our main concern on the clinical study. So that's why if you consider the clinical trial rule, CT rule, which has been come out in 2019. So we are emphasizing on that only. Clinical trials, then post-marketing approval, post-marketing vigilance, that is also pharmacovigilance. So we are concerned about that thing. Because the moment it comes for the human being, we are really busy about it. Suppose if there is a report that this animal study, few animals have been expired or something, it is another department and they will take care of it. We are till today we are safe. But in case if there is a report that 2 patients died on a clinical trial, this is a huge problem for the regulators, because if you know the background in 2013, there's a use case in Supreme Court. We are banned like anything. Of course, after my retirement, so I was safe at that time, but it was a real problem for CDSO, and that's why we have made the rule on the instruction of the Supreme Court, and now it is very stringent rule, and so many things are there. So my opinion, yes, definitely CDSO should do it, but presently I think they are not so much involved about the preclinical study. Instead, they are much more restricted on this clinical study.
I understand. So what you're saying is toxicology and animal testing would be preclinical, it would be RN.
Yeah.
The moment we are coming to human or clinical trials,
Yes,
that would
yes,
be
you have to come to us, I mean, to the regulators. But when you come to the regulator, definitely we'll see the toxicology study. ऐसा नहीं है, हम नहीं देखेंगे. Definitely we'll go through it, but we are not controlling the thing presently.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks. I'm done with my questions. Back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, now I would request Dr. Shashidhar, please share your question.
You are mute, Shashi.
Please unmute. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, what is the regulatory route for lab developed tests in India? So that is the first question for me.
Lab developed
what
products?
Lab developed test, LDTs.
Okay.
So what we have developed is a test. It's a lab developed test. We have not yet made it into a product actually. So, but we want to go into the market after the clinical trials in the form of a LDT, a lab developed test. So
lab developed test for what purposes? Is
so
this
basically
IVD, in vitro diagnostics?
So basically, this is a test, and it is not an IVD yet, sir. It's not an IVD yet. So basically,
ultimately it will be IVD.
Yes, ultimately it will be IVD. But right now we want to move into the market as an LD, as a lab developed test.
I couldn't follow you one thing. See, let me make you a very clear thing. If the medical device or the IVD, in vitro diagnostics, it is notified by the authority as a drug, then only it will come under the purview of the drug regulators. Otherwise not. Because PEX, it is also a medical device, but it is not under our control. So time to time, Government of India, they are notifying certain items which will be treated as a drug, and they have to follow all the medical device rules. As I could understand from your statement, your present product, you are not sure whether it will attract the IBD or not. If it attracts IBD, definitely you have to take permission from authority for its marketing authorization. Without their permission, you are not supposed to do it.
Okay.
Am I clear?
So, yes. So according to you, if I can describe the test, can you suggest whether this falls under an LDT or an IVD?
That's what I'm telling. If you have any queries, you can
Yes.
go to the regulators to get the clarification.
Okay, sure.
You can go to the regulators. You will always get the, and for that, my suggestion, instead of going to the CDSU headquarters, which is in Delhi, I also used to sit in Delhi. I know, too busy. All of the existing officers are too busy. They are not like me, retired officer. That's why I'm getting a time to converse with you by sitting at my home. But they cannot give the time. So better to meet with the zonal officer. They can explain you the thing. They have the time, they can do it.
Sure. Thank you. Fine. Thank you.
So next, I would request Dr. Neha.
Hello.
Yeah, please go
Hi,
ahead.
ma'am. Yeah, hello, sir. So my question was, what are the documents that are needed to be submitted for a device that is self-regulated?
That's why again I'm requesting you to go through the medical device rule, and if possible, go through my slides. You will get exactly which rule will attract your queries, and you will get all the answers. Which type of documents you require, which type of information you have to submit, all details will be there.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Dr. Shomona. Are you there? I don't see her. Next, we'll go with Dr. Yashpal.
Hi, Dr. Rai.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Myself, Dr. Yashpalan. We have come up with a patented medical device. We have come up with drug delivery through denture, dental denture. So what are the critical regulations I will be taking for the further market approval?
Again, I'm telling you, for the marketing approval, you have to, because first you have to identify, as per the medical device rule, there are 4 categories. Category A, B, C, and D. Under which category your product comes. If it comes under the category of A and B, you have to approach to the state licensing authority where your unit is located for the license, for the approval. If it comes under C and D, then you have to apply to CDSCO, Central Drug Standards Control Organization at Delhi, for the product approval. Am I clear? So first you have to identify your product, it comes under which category. Now, if you are unable to identify your product in which category, you can raise these queries to the CDSCO and they will get you the clearance whether it comes under A or B or C or D.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And accordingly, you have to. Clear?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
So we also received one query on the chat box. I'll just read it out. Whether nanoparticles are considered as medical devices. What are the regulators' expectations for nanoparticles?
Again, madam, let me just correct you. Nanoparticles is not a medical device. Nanoparticle is not a medical device. If the medical device using some nanoparticle, that will come under medical device. Am I clear?
Yes.
Nanoparticles are not medical device. But if nanoparticles are used in a medical device, that will come under the medical device category. And you have to apply under which category it comes, as I give the reply to earlier gentleman. If it may be nanoparticle, it may be whatever it may be. If that item, it comes under A and B category, then you have to apply to the state licensing authority under which you are located. If it comes under C and D, you have to apply to the central license approving authority. So the question of nanoparticle doesn't come here. Only thing, when you will prove, when you will go for explanation, then they may ask you certain quality parameters about your nanoparticles. Am I clear?
Yeah. Can I add to that question, ma'am?
Yes, please. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, thank you, Dr. Roy, for this, this vital information regarding licensing of medical devices. See, I'm from Amrita School of Pharmacy in Kochi, and my background is from Sri Chitra. There we used to work on medical devices. So I have a, combined this thing of pharmacy plus medical device background. So what I found was like, if I wanted to develop a nanoparticle with certain features and introduce into the market as an excipient, what is the criteria? It is neither drug nor a medical device. As an excipient, if I want to introduce into the market, what will be the criteria for that?
See, as an excipient means it is being going to the human body.
Before, for example, I wanted to blend it with a 3D printing bio ink. Not at all going into the human body, but at developing some 3D printed constructs and that level. It is just an excipient. It is just testing.
That's I'm telling you. The moment you want to market it, if it goes to the human body, then you have to take an approval from the authority.
Okay.
Drug authority.
Okay.
And for that, the moment you apply for it, drug authority, they will ask you so many questions. I mean, first they have to be satisfied whether it is really a nanoparticle. Then how do you claim that it's a nanoparticle? So
Okay.
all these documents you have to give all this evidence to them to their satisfaction. Then only you'll get the approval. Otherwise, if it is not for human consumption or if it is not used for the human body, then it is neither it calls as a drug or you require any permission. That's a very clear thing.
So can I go for export of that nanoparticle from India abroad? What are the criteria for that?
Again, I'm telling you now, first you have to ascertain it, whether it attracts the Drug Act and rules or not.
Okay.
Whether it attracts section 3B of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act.
Okay.
Because if you go through the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, there is a section 3B. They are giving the definition of a drug. If, for example, medical device, what they say, there are so many things a medical device, but which are being notified as a drug by the government, by the appropriate authority, that will be treated as a medical device. This is very clear. Not all medical devices. There are so many. Around US, if you consider US FDA, 23,000 items are covered under medical device. But in our country, it is only very few.
Okay.
So for that, that's why I'm telling you, first you have to ascertain whether your product attracts the definition of drug or not. If it attracts the definition, definitely you require permission. And that too also, if it comes under the ambit of the state authority, you have to apply to the state authority. If it comes under the ambit of central authority, you have to apply to the central authority. So first, these clarifications you have to take care. And for that, again, my suggestion, you can approach to any drug control authority, but especially because I am from CDSCO. So if you go to the CDSCO zonal office, they can give you the clarification. Whether and you take it. If they say no, it doesn't come under drug, then easily you can go for export without any drug regulation, drug clearance.
Thank you, Dr. Roy, and thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Yes.
So I would just like to add a point. So we are also connected with the zonal officers in Bangalore, Hyderabad.
Okay.
So, if you want a meeting, clarification, we would be happy to support you with that.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you. I will be in touch with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other question? Please.
Hello, myself Yashpal.
Yes.
I have a little clarification to seek.
Sure. Please go ahead.
Hello, Dr. Rai.
Yes. Tell me.
This is Yashpalan. Again, we have device and drug combination. So what are the regulations for that? So device and drug, both in single component. So drug device combination.
See, it may be a combination of device, of drug, whatever it may be, but you have to take an approval from the drug authority.
Yes, sir.
So first I'm telling you, first you ensure whether it comes under the, I think definitely it will come under the ambit of the CDSCO.
Yes, sir, 100%.
If it is CDSU, then you apply to CDSU. You apply to CDSU. And which application you will apply? That already I told you, go through the rules, you will get it. And what are the documents and information you have to submit, and you do it online. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So, any other question?
Hello, I'm Pranav. I have some
Yes,
question.
please go
So,
ahead.
sir, quality by design, that's a very interesting concept. So given the, for example, I would like to take an example. For example, oxygen concentrator. So it says the quality of oxygen has to be, I mean, purity of oxygen has to be very good in order to give it to a patient. And somebody, if he's developing a device, for example, we are into that, and we are trying to bring about a better quality of product, which will give better quality of oxygen, medical grade oxygen. So this is the simple case. So here, quality, if we see quality by design for this example or any other example, would the CDCO that themselves can, I mean, you said that it is going to come, but would they be suggesting any methods? For example, in this particular device, there is a technology called as PSA, pressure adsorption, and it depends on various parameter how much the purity can come. For example, quality of zeolite powder that is used for the PSA action, etc. So this is the design factor, the quality by design when we say. So whether it is going to be, I mean, only responsibility or of the developer, or would there be any additional guidelines or suggestions or suggestive technologies or approaches when we say quality by design? Please, sir.
What I could understand from your statement, number one, you want to ensure that the quality of your oxygen, this output is oxygen.
Yes.
That quality will be a quality or standards, it will as per the IP, Indian Pharmacopoeia. That's a very clear thing. Clear?
Yes.
Now, through your device, which is generated this pure oxygen, how it will constantly giving the same purity, that depends on your quality technique, and that we call is the quality by design. You have to ensure that constant when the production is going on, constantly it will give you the same output, same quality. So that is on
Right.
basis depends on your design, how you are designing your device.
Correct. How the commercialization, I mean, productionization is happening.
So that's what I'm telling. So CDSU do not say you anything. What CDSU want, because as I told you very clearly, presently CDSU or Indian Drug Regulator, QBD is not a mandatory requirement. They never ask for QBD.
Yeah.
They ask for the quality. The ultimate
Outcome.
product which is being coming out from your device is
Process.
having the quality, and that quality specification, since it's oxygen, that should follow the Indian Pharmacopoeia. That's a very clear thing, medical oxygen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it ultimately goes to that reference of Indian
Indian Pharmacopoeia. That's all.
Okay. And sir, also does the ISO standards get counted in all of this, like ISO standards? Because for example, in Word, I mean, one of document that I studied about the oxygen concentrator itself from the WHO during the pandemic. So they refer to the ISO standard, which then talks about 94.5, 95.6, 95.2, whatever. So
now,
they refer to the ISO.
in our case, we will restrict only Indian Pharmacopoeia.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So while others are thinking about the questions, can I ask the participants to just turn on the camera for a bit? You would like to take a picture of all of you?
Thirty-three participants are there.
Yes. Thank you. So I have received a question from someone who could not join due to some other meeting. So the question is, she's Sumona from Prante. They're working on IVD development. And the question is, I want to understand the manufacturing site specification in terms of environment for Class B IVD. And what is the special requirement for buffer dispensing room? Is there any specific publication that she can refer to?
See, what that is probably she is asking about the environmental condition to be maintained in a manufacturing site.
Yes.
Now it is a very clear. This is your question?
No, this is from a company. They are
Okay.
working on developing IVD.
Now, as per our GMP norms, good manufacturing practice norm, our Schedule M, they are very explicitly they have made statement about the clean room condition, environmental conditions, and that depends on your product category. Suppose I am manufacturing a sterile product which should be free from any bacteria. And in that case, suppose it is having an injection. I'm just giving one example, it will be clear to you. One injection, I'm doing it. Water for injection. Now, water for injection, after making, I can go for the autoclaving. After complete seal of the product, I can go for the sterilization method by heating. And all the, in case any bacteria or any other thing, living bacteria is there, it will be destroyed or killed. So I can take the steps. But suppose I am manufacturing some biological products, blood products. I cannot heat it. In that case, my product will be lost. So in that case, I have to fill in a completely aseptic condition where there is no bacteria, no particle. So that is called the environmental condition. And for the informations, we divide into 4 categories: Class A, Class B, Class C, and Class D. 4 categories of the room.
Yeah.
And if you are interested, I can go in details of that one. Class A means what the particle size, but in all classes, we only call is a classified room. The particle size we mentioned that is a not more than 0.5 micron particle size. And the 0.5 micron particle size should not exceed 3256 per cubic meter of that area of that room. Then it is called a Class A. If it is 35260, then it is class. It is also class B. Class B. If it is 1,000 times more than that, then it is a Class C. There is a 10,000 more than that. There is a Class D.
She has asked for Class B.
Class B area, Class C. That is the concept. That probably that lady or gentleman, she totally confused it, because Class A and Class B, in a static condition, there is no difference. That means when there is no production, room is closed room, only with the equipment, other things, then Class A and Class B the same. Particle count is same. The moment I enter the personnel for the workers when enter the room, then Class A will be deviated, then the particle count will be more, because the existing people, they are generating millions or trillions of particles per second. So it increases. So we allow up to 100 times. From Class A to 100 times when the work is going on. But the work is stopped, again it should come. Immediately it should regain the Class A condition. So Class B and Class A same condition. And there are so many other things. So by this discussion, I cannot tell. Either she can give me a mail, I can cite the references, or she can talk to me over phone. Then only I can clear.
Yeah, she has specifically requested for any reference document. So I will ask her.
So many. If he goes to our Schedule M of the Drugs and Cosmetics Rule, Schedule M, GMP, good manufacturing practice, there we have for aseptic preparation, we have given it, all clear thing.
Sure. Thank you. Any other questions from the participants?
Can I ask one question?
Yes, Srinath, please go ahead.
I think, but this is deviating from devices. I just wanted to know when someone is trying to have biologics not going as drug, can it, how it is to be marketed in India as a nutraceutical? Yeah, I can put it as a nutraceutical then.
See, as per our present drugs and cosmetics rules, nutraceuticals is not termed at all. It is
Okay.
in US FDA, they have a nutraceuticals, but
Mhm.
we do not have. So
Okay.
either in our case, either it's a drug or it's a food.
Okay. So
Either it's a
FDA,
drug or a food.
okay, FSSAI approval is that's
So
what it is.
in that case,
Okay.
if it is nutraceutical means if it is comes under food, then you have to take the food license.
Okay. Now, I'm just curious then, this tablets which come with vitamin A in the market, let's say it's a fish oil, does it come under FSSAI then?
See, that's what I'm telling you. There's so many,
Uh-huh.
so many items are there which comes under drug as well as under food. Now it depends for which purpose, what is the ultimate use of that particular product. Then accordingly it has been designated, whether it's a drug or to treat as a food. For example, just to give you an example, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, so many vitamins are there. When they are using as a food, they are food item. When they are using as a drug, then it's a drug item. And if you want to use it as a drug, in that case, the standard should follow the Indian Pharmacopoeia, IP.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Sure,
the clear thing.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, a short question in the same line. Can I ask?
Sure, sure.
So we said if it is food, it's food and not the drug. When the food goes in the body and the body process, and for example, after any treatment, whatever all the medical waste that are there around hospital. So does it only is concern of environmental departments and people, or is it also concern of CDSCO in any way? Okay.
No, it is not concerned with CDSCO.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone else? So if there are no more questions, I would like to thank Dr. Roy for your time and patiently answering
No,
all the
it's
questions.
my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And I also, since I'm retired, so I have a time. But participants should not expect this type of time from the present regulators, because they don't have any time at all.
Yeah, but I think your role would be to form the channel between, the regulators and the startups. So thank you so much we really appreciate your time and efforts, and we will continue to do such similar sessions and have more targeted, questions and questions answered during the session. So thank you so much, all of you. Please.
One second, Dr. Priyankan. Actually, I had some discussion with Dr. Swinder Singh. This type of webinar is a very good. So far, answers I could give them. I do not know whether they are satisfied with it or not. But they'll be much more satisfied if you can collect all the questions from them. And that specific questions through a digital platform, we can give a specific reply. And that will be, I think, much more help for them.
Yeah, so those questions are coming your way, sir. So you will soon receive them. Because this basically interaction allows the startups to also comprehend their questions clearly. So I would request all of you, we are connected through our IGRF forum. We are also connected on WhatsApp. So please share your questions, specific questions, and we will get very targeted answers to you all. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And those who have not registered to become IGRF member, please do so. We will share the link with you. And thank you so much. And we look forward to your participation in many more sessions. So thank you all.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thanks, Priyanka. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. Thank you, Dr.
Thanks,
Roy.
Dr. Roy.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
सब चले गए बस।
Then shall we close the meeting? Hello?
Yeah, I think you can close because they also left. Priyanka, yeah.
Right. Okay. ठीक है. Thanks everyone. I'm ending this meeting for all. Thank you.